صلوا على النبي الكريم. صلوا على النبي الكريم. صلوا على النبي الكريم. Ah, this voice is so poor. صلوا على النبي الكريم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. May Allah's peace, mercies and blessings be with the Prophet. May his mercies and blessings be with his households. May his peace and blessings be with his companions. May the same blessing extend to the Muslim women throughout the world. Can we remain silent, please? We are almost rounding up. Our family from Kuje. Hello. Please, we want to round up. But when we continue talking like this, we won't be able to finish here on time. We have gone for prayers and we are back. May Allah accept all our prayers. May Allah grant each and every one of us all our requests. All our fathers who have been here since morning and they have seated quietly, may Allah reward them. We thank our lecturer. Inshallah, he will continue from where he stopped. But we would love if he could summarize everything within the next. I'm trying to plead to him to summarize the whole thing within 10 to 15 minutes so that we can move on. Are we satisfied? Are we ready? If you are ready, let us remain silent, please. May Allah accept our prayers. Please go back to processing workflow because that's very important. Yes. Then, when you want to create workflow, you identify the first three pillars. If it's one that you want to create individually, you know that you are going to be the only workflow donor. And if it's one you want to join with others, identify those that we do the workflow together with you. And which property, you have to clarify. I made workflow of my land. Clear description of the land must be stated. Please, can we have some silence there? And that is why we have what we call workflow documentation, which time will not permit us to discuss. And that one is even more technical for professionals. So we have the document where workflow is documented is what is called workfiyah. That is workflow deed. So all these that we are talking about must be stated in your workflow deed. Then we must have workflow deed, like I've said. Then it's also important when you do a workflow, to some extent, don't make it a secret engagement. Workflow is not something that you do, and at the end of the day, when you die, it will now become controversial whether you actually made it a workflow or not. I have had an opportunity to handle a case like that in Ilorin. After the death of the man, the children came up. They said their father never did any workflow of such things. It took a lot of legal proceeding before we are able to succeed in defeating them. So when you do your workflow, let all of them know that this thing has become workflow. Now, then you should also register the workflow with relevant authorities. we identify that you can register your Wakfu document with Sharia Court of Appeal. So this is very important for proper legal documentation. So the last part is how can work now bring about sustainable measures against poverty. Next slide. I have identified a number of techniques we can use. Next. Number one, deploying appropriate workful property. If you want your workful to have a sustainable impact on poverty, make sure you identify the kind of property you want to use as workful. We have what we call consumptive workful. Consumptive workful are workful that are not going to be generating finances. Their benefit is in their consumption, in their use. Like if we build a mosque now, what will be the benefit to derive from it is the use of that. So they are consuming it. So the actual consumption of that property is what will bring is the benefit to be derived. Then we have non-consumptive. We have some property that you do that will be in form of income generation. Like if a big shopping mall in a very lucrative area, and the rent that is now collected there, because what Foucault knows is that the property itself is not the one to be consumed in a way that it will now become useless. But the benefit to be coming from it will be what will become, going to the beneficiary. And that is why in a simple definition of workful, the scholar will say it is tahbisul asilu wa tasbilu samara. Tahbisul asil. That is, you preserve the asilu, that is the original property, what tasbilu samara. That is, you now make the fruit, the benefit coming from it as the what you dedicate to the sabilullah. The way of Allah. What is bilu samara? Then, whether it's movable or immovable. Then we have cash-based workful. You can also use money to make workful. We have what we call al-workful nukud, cash workful. And we have what we call workful nukud. We have nukud al-workful, that is workful cash, where you make workful, cash available, but not for the purpose of making that cash as a workful, but to use it to develop a project that will become workful. Now, another techniques or measure which we can use. Next slide. And this will be useful for those who are workful practitioners and professionals. If you want to perpetuate and you want your workful to have sustainable impact in workful, in poverty alleviation, we have what we call workful 10 commandments or rules. Ashurutul Ashra. These principles, 10 principles, are principles that every workful manager must know and understand how to apply them. Because when people begin to do workful, it may become challenging for the workful manager if they don't know how to apply all these principles. So these 10 principles are also handy in ensuring that our workful will have sustainable impact. The first one is the principle of ziyada and nuksan. When the workful donor
has declared that these are the beneficiaries of workful. The question will now be that what happens? Because we should not also turn the benefit to something that will not be useful to the beneficiaries. Just as some people undo their zakah. So in a situation where the return to be given to the workful beneficiary is not much, we can make a kind of a permutation where we may have to decrease the number of beneficiaries that will benefit in a particular year. And when we have much more yield from the workful, we can increase the beneficiaries. And that is, please, can somebody talk to them there? So that is application of Ziyada and Nokson. And this principle can also use in order to cater for tears and wears in respect of workful. So from whatever that is yielded, we will also use something to augment workful so that the value will not deteriorate. So under this principle. And idkhal and ikhraj is also similar to that one. Then at times you may give somebody, then you deny one beneficiary. Next slide. I'm already on the next slide. Next one. Then we have what we call taghyir and tabdil. A replacement, changing, and conversion. Let's assume somebody make a workful of 200 acres of land in the village. And that land is not yielding anything there. So we can sell the land and now come to Abuja to buy one single plot of land. That when we bid on it, is now going to be bringing more return than the 200 acres of land in the village. And that is under the taghyir and tabdil. So when we do this, the global challenges now, we have many countries where landed properties as a workful, but it's now become challenging that those land are just there, not bringing any benefit. So if they properly apply this principle of taghyir and tabdil, then they will be able to, make the workful more beneficial. Next slide. Then we have the principle or concept of al-waqfu and al-waqfi strategy. What this connotes is that when you do a workful, which is a constructive workful, you will not do another workful to be for the financing of that workful. And a very good illustration of this is that when people bid mosque, the question will be that what provision have been made available for the maintenance of that mosque? So you can do another workful for the mosque so that that workful you have done will be for the benefit of that mosque. For instance, you can have somebody want to do workful for the benefit of AL-HABIBIYYAH mosque. So that one will be al-waqfu and al-waqfi, that is workful for workful. So just as individual can be beneficiaries of workful, an existing workful can also be a workful beneficiary. I hope that is clear. Next one. Then we have integrative istibdal. This integrative istibdal is that from a workful manager, when you begin to have many more workful, there will be a situation where so many workful will be redundant. This one has made workful of land. He did not bid anything on it. This one made workful of land. You now have so much land. So you cannot integrate all of them together to now become a single workful in form of a kind of a group workful. You can sell some of the workful to develop some. And the new developed workful will now be the workful of all those people. You have integrated them together under the istibdal. I'm making summary. Then cash-based workful strategy. We have cash wakfu and we have wakfu cash. Cash wakfu is monetary wakfu, where the mokuf, what has been made as wakfu is cash. Why wakfu cash is monetized wakfu, where you make money available, but the mokuf, which is the wakfu property, is not the money, but that targeted project. For instance, you want to do a wakfu of borehole. You will make money available, but the wakfu you actually want to do is borehole, not money. So in that regard, that money can be spent on the borehole, and there will not be any violation of the principle of wakfu. If you make a wakfu of cash, where the mokuf is the money, that money must be preserved. And that is why you cannot use it for two purposes: for istismar, that is investment, or corridor hasan, interest-free loan. So it depends on whichever one. So if we do our wakfu this way, we'll see that our impact on fighting poverty will be sustainable. Last one. Let's skip this. This will be too technical for this forum. So go to the next one. Employing investment wakfu. Yes, I'm rounding up. We should also pay attention to investing our wakfu properties, especially when it is cash. I'm aware that the 117 capital, Abi, they are here. They are one of the Islamic investment outlets. So if you have wakfu money, whatever, and you engage them, so they can invest in whatever yield that is now coming will not be for the benefit of the beneficiary. And I want us to quickly look at one of the benefits of wakfu investment. The last 2 points there. I said it reduces extravagant and wasteful spendings. Some people, some Muslims, they do a lot of charity, but their charity eventually end up to be wasteful spendings. A case study is an analysis of Hajj sponsorship. Some people will sponsor, like now, the Hajj is roughly 10 million, right? If you want to sponsor 10 people, which means you are going to spend how much? 100 million, at least. Now, between spending 100 million now and making a wakfu of 100 million, which one will be more beneficiary? If it's make a wakfu of that 100 million now, with the same purpose that whatever yield that will be coming from it should be spent in sending people on pilgrimage. In the next 5-10 years, that 100 million might have yielded something that will be capable of people spending, sending more than 10 people on pilgrimage. And that is better than just wasting that 100 million now. But so many of our rich people will not look at it like that. And that is why, to avoid all this wasteful, genuine, innocent, and what? Good intended spending. So we should begin to think along the way of wakfu. Then finally, on family wakfu. We all have families, and one of the challenges is what becomes of them when we are dead. So where family wakfu is there, floating a family wakfu for family expenses and needs, even while you are alive, all these extended family that will have the need, contacting you from time to time, you can just decide at a go to do a wakfu for them, so that it's from that wakfu that you will be attending to their needs. And the financial body that such demand will be on you will not be there, because wakfu will now continue to cater for them in your name. Then those who have family businesses, one of the ways to preserve your family businesses after your death is by making it as wakfu. If you structure it properly, before you die, that business will be running on its own, and you know that after your death, it will continue and benefiting your family members. There is a case of one generational wakfu, which was well circulated. They said a couple, a man narrated that one day, I think in Mecca or so, they received an email at their residence inviting his wife to visit them in the office of a particular wakfu, telling the woman that your great-grandfather, who made a wakfu for his family, and we keep the record of all of you as you are growing, even those who are married, as you go, we keep the record. Now it's now your own turn to come and benefit from that wakfu. After 3 or 4 generations. That is the way we can do to preserve and sustain our poverty fighting in our family. Then we can designate our white elephant project or properties as family wakfu. So these are some of the things we can do. Recommendations. 1, there is need for wider awareness about wakfu, and we have to pursue this more and more aggressively. Our Friday sermon khutbah to focus on wakfu discourse at least once in a month. This is an appeal to our imam in various Jumat mosques. Then academic institutions should create certificate courses, diplomas, and professional masters in wakfu. Wakfu practitioners should undertake trainings and continue trainings. In Nigeria today, one of the sectors that people dabble into without learning is the issue of zakat and wakfu. Many thanks to our chairman, Madam Medoki, through a lot of effort, through Azawan conference, through a lot of engagement, many people realize that they are just ignorantly handling zakat and wakfu matters because they thought it's just something that anybody can do. When I was doing my PhD, so many were laughing at me that you are going to an area that will not have any impact. So if somebody will say, what is that thing? But Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So wakfu, Muslim philanthropists to adopt wakfu approach towards sustaining their financial intervention. Last slide. Undertaking wakfu training is very important. In our own little way, we have an academic where we impart on people. We have trained some number of people on wakfu, and alhamdulillah, they are better for it. So in conclusion, we can all see from this presentation that wakfu is a very wide scheme for effective financial intervention. It is capable of poverty alleviation through sustainable measures. It can endure for an unknown long period. For instance, the wakfu of Uthman, Khalif Uthman, is still available till now. Wakfu can be an institutional industry like Islamic banks with wide employment openings. Even if you are thinking of establishing a particular industry, wakfu can be an industry like that. In some countries, they have wakfu banks which cater for the needs management of financial holdings of wakfu. There are commercial opportunities which can be pursued in wakfu. There is need for Muslims to retain their approach to fighting poverty. Wakfu is very handy to be employed for sustainable measures in that regard. It should be employed. And I want to conclude by saying that do your work today. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allahu Akbar. The lecture is very interesting, but we started very lately, and that is the reason why we could not give him more than this time. We were supposed to start at 10 o'clock, but we started very lately. May Allah reward our lecturers. May Allah strengthen him. May Allah increase in wisdom. May Allah protect him. We might need to jump to some of the things we have here. This question and answer might not come now because we'll have to move from here to Kuduma village for the disbursement. But now we're going to the goodwill messages. I'm going to invite our dear brother who is a member of AL-HABIBIYYAH Abuja branch and Sokoto branch, Dr. Engineer Muhammad Lawal Maidoki, to please come over and give his goodwill messages.
Takbir! Takbir! الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Our host and the Imam, Fuad, my friends, Imam Nurain Ashafa, Brother Shola, and our respected brother and sisters, all colleagues on the high table, distinguished sisters and brothers as well, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to thank Habibiyah for keeping the flag flying. And I want to pray to our last year's MC and the present MC and all the staff and members of Habibiyah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from you, forgive you, guide you, and give us, all of us, Al-Jannah Firdausi bighairi hisab. Indeed, I know there is an outing which I had wanted to be part of it, but unfortunately, I have another appointment that I have to honor. However, from the speech of the representative of former governor, Alhaji Ma'az Babangida, and the speaker himself all reiterated the need for Muslims we go back to the Quran and Sunnah. We have no better solution than the Quran. Any system, any group of people, whether they are United Nations, whether they are national assemblies across the world, whether they are economic groups, whether they are for the world, they are for Africa, there is nobody knows better than Allah. Because Allah is Al-Alim. Imagine somebody who invented a machine. Even this AC, there is a manual to operate this AC. If you don't follow the manual to operate this AC, you may not get what you need from this AC in terms of cold, or in terms of heat, or in terms of whatever you need. If you have a car, in the car, or the car you have, it has a manual. There is in the car where you put petrol. There is in the car where you put engine oil. There is in the car where you put brake fluid. Am I right? There are areas in the car where you put grease. Am I right? So if someone decide now where they are putting petrol, he decided to use palm oil, and where they are using engine oil, he said palm is thicker than engine oil, so he used a cocoa akamu. Will this car function? The car will not function. So how on earth God created you, created me. And now we sit and tell God, you are wrong. We know how to live better. That is why the consequences of whatever we are facing will not end until as Muslims we go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah said, Antum a'lamu amillah. Is it you that know or better than Allah? So it is Allah that knows you, knows before you, knows after you, knows your destination. And He is the controller of the universe. He created the sky. He created min al-ardi mithluhun sab'a samawati wa min al-ardi mithluhunna. Allah created the seventh heaven and then the seventh earth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls everybody. He controls our life. He knows when each and every one of us is going. He knows when we came. He knows what we are going to do after this hall. But here nobody knows what is going to do after this hall or in the next minute. Only Allah knows this. How can human being not submit back to Allah? The problem is that you, a Muslim, who say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah, that I have submitted myself to the will of Allah and only Allah, because Allah does not accept shirk. It is the only sin that when you die, Allah does not forgive it. But any other sin, Allah can forgive if He so wishes to, but not that of shirk. So Muslims, we should fear none but Allah. We should fear none but Allah, and we submit to none but Allah. But we live in peace with everybody. But Allah must be given His right. If we need to live in peace and tranquility, then we have to give Allah His right as Muslims. Because Allah said, all you who believe, enter into the religion as a whole. Don't put one leg in Islam and one leg in democracy. I say it, in democracy. It is Allah only. Everything belongs to Allah and only Allah. So that is number one. So if we are talking of Islamic economics, or we are talking of the economy, we are talking of peace, we are talking of poverty, then we go back to Allah. I know there is constraint of time. MC. What I am saying is about zakah and wakaf, but maybe I started somewhere so that to tell people or to remind us that this zakah and wakaf, they are divine. They are not provided by anybody. It's provided by the maker of the world, the maker of you, the maker of me, and the owner of the hereafter. So when we follow Allah, we have peace. When we don't follow Allah, Allah of this Islam is only one. And this is the Islam that brought us together. And in Islam, nobody is better than the other except who fears Allah most. So the issue of I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba, I'm Fulani, I'm XYZ, that today we are trying to bring back ourselves and with due apology to some of us who may not understand. Under whatever political arrangement, we still want to propagate ethnicity. Ethnicity will not take us anywhere. We are only one people that in hadhihi ummatukum ummatun wahida wa ana rabbukum fa'buduni. And Allah said there is no difference between you. That during one of the biggest Sahaba, which a Nabi has given testify that even Arab has not taken better than him, is Abu Zar al-Ghifari. But Abu Zar al-Ghifari, when he had a problem with Bilal, mistakenly, he said, you are a son of a black woman. So Bilal took him to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the Prophet called Abu Zar, his friend. He said, Abu Zar, he said, Ayatuhu bi ummi? Yace na'am. Yace Abu Zar, Ayatuhu bi ummi? Yace yes. Yace Abu Zar, Ayatuhu bi ummi? You demystify him with his mother because she is black? He said yes. Yace innaka mru'un fika jahiliya. And Abu Zar said, this is the word that he cannot forget. he wished he had not been born in his life. So there is no difference of color, there is no difference of tongue. We are all one group. I am leading to a particular problem we have at hand. With due apology. This zakat, we are talking zakat, yes. There are other fundamental issues that will also not allow us to attain collective application of this zakat and waqf. We have already seen school